Well, I was born and raised in Northern Virginia and never had a real access to any airports or any airplanes. Didn't get a chance to grow up washing airplanes or anything like that. But I had an interest in the military. I had two uncles that were hugely influential. I was the first person from my family to ever go to college. I got an appointment to the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis, and while at Annapolis, thought that aviation was the way I really wanted to go, but I wasn't sure about that. During the second class summer, between your second year and your third year, the midshipmen get a chance to go experience a little bit about all the alternatives that are available to them. You spend a week at Quantico in the Marine Corps. I really enjoyed that, actually. Got a chance to go to Pensacola and fly a T-34, a T-2 Buckeye, and a helicopter. And my first flight in an airplane, almost at any airplane, was a T-2 jet. I didn't eat for a day and a half before going for that flight because I had no idea what the aviation environment was going to be like, and I kind of wanted it but didn't know if I was suitable for it. Within the first couple of seconds of flying in that jet, I knew this is all I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I thought I wanted to fly jets, and I was extremely excited about being selected for jets. I'm up for selection. I did not even have Harrier on the list. I wanted to be a fighter pilot. But I got a call one day that says, we've got a back seat in the two-seater open. Your class is going to start next. You need to come down here and climb in the back seat of this airplane. I was in the back of the two-seater. Basically said, strap in, check in on the intercom, and shut up. Your baggage for this flight. So the flight of three went out. We did some, and strapped in, started the airplane up. The airplane, as you can see from the airplane, the exhaust nozzles impinge upon the horizontal tail. The airplane idles at 28%, 27%, very low RPM for idle, and the whole plane just sits there and shakes. So he started up, and I'd been reading the manual, so I knew something about the cockpit, and I'm, Marine lieutenant. You can't tell a Marine lieutenant anything. And I'm sitting back there trying to be cool and collected, and the airplane starts this shaking thing. We taxi out for takeoff, and he says, well, are you ready to go? Yes, sir, I am. He slammed the power forward. The airplane jumped forward, threw me back in the seat. The acceleration was unbelievable. I saw this lever go forward, this lever come back, this lever go forward, this lever come back, and at the end of an 8,000-foot runway, we joined in formation on the other two Harriers. I'm pretty sure we were doing 450 knots at the end of an 8,000-foot runway, but it was at least 350, and I had never seen an airplane accelerate that fast before. And so we came back in formation, landed. He brought it into the hover, and in the hover, the second words he said to me, would you like to fly it for a second? Yes, sir. I put my hand on the stick, nothing, and it just kind of stayed there, and he said, that's enough. And I think my total flight time was about a second, but after we landed, I just went, this airplane can do anything. When do I start? Well, as a junior guy in the squadron, there's a lot to learn, and it all wasn't good. There's training flights on how to do navigation and how to do air-to-air combat and how to do carrier landings, and we were constantly working. And you really learn the airplane when you go on the road on a cross country and something happens. You need to put oil in it. You don't get the oil lights to come on. You need to service a tire. Maybe you need to do something else a little bit more than that. That's when you really learn the airplane. And I stayed in a Harrier squadron until about 1984, where I was selected to go to the U.S. Air Force Test Pilot School. They send one Marine a year, and for the class that started in 1985, 85A, that was me. Pax River was 3 years, 3.5 years, and it was all work on the AV-8B and the A4. So I stayed in Washington until it was time to retire, retired, and then went a completely different way. In the course of doing air shows, I came across some statistics of what were the most popular airplanes at air shows. And ICAS, the International Council of Air Shows, publishes every 2 years takes a survey of that. The numbers change a little bit, but the ratios don't change, and the pecking order doesn't change. Absolutely, by far above the jet teams and a modern military aircraft. By far more popular than anything else. If we got something that was up here like a military airplane, and I knew that the Harrier was right there with the Thunderbirds and the Blue Angels. In fact, at one time there was the Secretary of the Navy instruction that prohibited a Harrier from performing at a same air show where the Blue Angels were. It's a metal fuselage, that's easy to fix. It's hydraulic systems, that's not rocket science. It's a jet engine. There's some differences with this jet engine and some other ones because the spools counter rotate in opposite different directions. But I said, I think we can do it. And the type of flying we have to do cross country to get it from here to there. We can do that. We have to do some high speed stuff. We can do that. And we have to do a hover check. We'd basically have to hover the airplane, which I said, that's easy to do. And I said, I think it's worth taking a gamble. So I started looking for the possibility. There's no way you can get one surplus in the United States. US, they won't sell them, but you can fly them. You look over in the UK, they were selling them surplus, but you can't fly them in the UK. So you can get them, but you can't fly them. You can't get them, but you can fly them. So I said the obvious solution is to get one from the UK. There's a lot of great airplanes out there. Corsairs, Mustangs, you name it. There's a lot of great airplanes there. I get people coming up to me all the time that say, I remember the first time I saw a Harrier. We have the A-team working on this, the people working on the airplanes, the people watching me when we do the show. Everything is choreographed, nothing is ad-lib. We do it the right way. We try to do it professionally. We don't take short, we keep the airplane on the ground if it's not ready to go. I'm just an average person that has a passion for flying, and I've been extremely fortunate that I've been afforded some opportunities to be able to do some pretty great things. I'm not a Superman, I'm not superhuman, and in fact there are days that I think it's an amazing feat that I can just walk from point A to point B. I do love this airplane.